Welcome back to Astral Card Vault. Someone is watching you more closely than they want to admit. And what's interesting is, this does not feel like random curiosity. This feels like a person studying your energy, noticing your silence, noticing your growth, noticing the way you've become harder to reach emotionally, and in a moment, you'll understand why they've been holding back. This is a timeless love tarot reading, so the timing is whenever this message finds you. Not everything will belong to every person watching, so take what fits your heart and leave the rest outside the vault door. Let's ask softly, who is watching the collective who is coming toward them, and why does this feel so quietly intense? Okay, the first card we have here is the Ace of Pentacles. Now that's very telling. This person is not just looking at you with passing attraction, they're seeing potential. They're seeing something solid, something rare, something they could actually build with. The Ace of Pentacles, as a symbol, is the hand offering the beginning of something real. But notice how the hand is reaching out slowly, not rushing, not grabbing, just offering. So I'm picking up that this person may be watching from a distance right now because they are trying to figure out whether there is still an opening, whether you would receive them, whether your heart is available, or whether you've completely turned the page. And I have to say this very clearly: someone underestimated you before. There was a past situation where you were left waiting, left guessing, maybe emotionally frozen out. You may have given warmth to someone who only gave you crumbs. And because of that, you learn to stop chasing unclear energy that matters here. Because this watcher can feel that you are not the same person anymore. You have spiritually grown. You have pulled your energy back from unstable things. You are no longer begging for a place in someone's life. And strangely, that's part of what makes this person unable to stop watching. There is hidden attraction here, but also respect. They see you as a true gem, not because you're performing, but because you stop performing. And now this is where it gets interesting. Because the Ace of Pentacles is telling me this person may soon make a real-world move. So let's clarify what that move actually is, because I'm not feeling this as a huge dramatic confession out of nowhere. I'm feeling something more careful than that, something measured, something that looks simple from the outside, but has much more intention underneath it. Okay, and now we have the Two of Pentacles. Interesting. So this person is going back and forth. They are weighing something. They may be trying to decide when to reach out, how to approach you, what would seem natural, what would seem too obvious. This is someone who does not want to come in looking messy. They don't want you to know exactly how much they've been paying attention. And with this Two of Pentacles energy, again, tarot here is symbolic. This is not me saying every single person watching this will get the same exact event. This is the emotional pattern. This is the psychology underneath the connection. They're balancing desire with caution. They're curious, but they're trying to stay composed. They're watching, but they're pretending they're not watching. They may look at your stories, your posts, your photos, your comments, but there's also this feeling of checking your energy in mutual spaces, work, community, a friend circle, a place you both pass through, somewhere they can observe without fully stepping forward yet. And what I find really specific here is that they're not only watching how you look, they're watching how you move now, how you respond, how quiet you've become, whether you still give energy to certain things, whether you seem happier, whether you seem unavailable, whether you are glowing because someone else is around, or because you finally stopped pouring yourself into people who didn't pour back. That's a very different kind of watching. This person is trying to read the room of your heart, if that makes sense. And I feel like they've noticed a shift in you. Maybe you used to post from pain, or react quickly, or leave little emotional doors open for someone to come back in. But now there's more control, more peace, more mystery. And that is making this person wonder, do I still have a chance to enter this person's life? The real world move could be a message. It could be a reaction. It could be them showing up somewhere they know you might be, but it's going to look casual on the surface, underneath it. Though there's a lot more intention. And now I want to look at why they're hesitating, because this Two of Pentacles is telling me there's one thing they keep turning over in their mind. Okay, and the card coming through is the Six of Pentacles. Now that makes a lot of sense, especially after that Two of Pentacles energy, because we were just looking at balance, hesitation, and someone trying to choose the right way to move. And now the Six of Pentacles brings in the question of fairness, because this person is not just wondering, should I reach out? They're wondering, would this be balanced? Would this be received? Would I be giving into something that can actually give back? There is something here about fairness, reciprocity, and maybe even an old imbalance that you experienced before. Take it how it resonates, but I feel like some of you dealt with someone in the past who made you feel like you were always the one reaching, always the one understanding, always the one making excuses. And you may have been very generous with your patience, your forgiveness, your emotional availability, but eventually, you saw that the scales were not even, and this watcher can sense that about you. They can sense that you are no longer in the energy of accepting little bits of attention and calling it love. That's why their silence does not feel empty to me. It feels contained. It feels like someone holding themselves back because they don't want to enter your life in the wrong way. I'm picking up that this person may be afraid of looking like they only want something from you. They may worry that if they come forward too quickly, you'll place them in the same category as someone who took from your energy before. So they're watching. Yes, but they're also studying the balance. They're trying to understand what you would need in order to feel safe, and that is very different from the old energy. The old energy kept you guessing because it benefited from your confusion. This energy is more careful because it doesn't want to create confusion. See the difference? The Six of Pentacles, as psychological symbolism, can talk about someone asking themselves, do I have enough to offer? Can I show up properly? Can I meet this person where they are now? And for some of you, this person sees you as someone who has raised your standards quietly. You didn't announce it. You didn't make a big speech. You just stopped handing out access. Okay, interesting. Because now I'm also feeling that they may have watched you pull back from someone or something. They saw you choose yourself, and that choice changed the way they view you. So the reason they're holding back is not because they don't feel anything. It's because they know you are not the same heart they first noticed. And the next card is going to show why your spiritual growth changed the entire dynamic. Okay, and we have the Knight of Pentacles. Now this is exactly what I mean, because we just saw someone asking, can I show up properly? And the Knight of Pentacles is the energy of someone who does not want to rush in without knowing how to be consistent. Because the Knight of Pentacles is not fast energy, this is not someone who rushes in, says the perfect thing, creates a spark, and then disappears when things require consistency. This is slow, steady, observant energy. And as psychological symbolism, this card tells me this person has been watching your growth almost like they are watching proof appear over time, not proof that you are worthy. You are already worthy. Proof that you are no longer available for the version of love that drains you. And I feel like that is what magnetized this person. You became quieter, more selective, less reactive. You stopped explaining yourself to people who were committed to misunderstanding you. You stopped trying to convince someone to see your softness as valuable, and when you did that, your energy changed. It became harder to reach you casually. That's important here. This person can feel that if they come toward you. They cannot come in with half effort. They cannot come in with little crumbs of attention. They cannot come in just because they are curious and then expect you to open every door. The Knight of Pentacles knows the road to you requires patience, and I'm picking up that this watcher actually admires that. They may even be a little nervous because they can tell you are not easily impressed anymore. Maybe before. You would have lit up over a message, a small sign, a little bit of attention, and please don't judge that version of yourself. That was a heart trying to be hopeful. That was a heart trying to believe in potential. But now you are becoming the standard. There's a shift from why didn't they choose me into who is actually capable of meeting me where I am. And this person feels that, but they sense that you are not chasing unstable love anymore. You are not running after someone who makes you feel unsure. You are not standing in emotional weather without shelter, hoping someone eventually becomes warm. So they're moving carefully. The Knight of Pentacles can look slow, but it is not empty. It is the kind of energy that wants to understand the ground before stepping on it. They are studying the path to you because they don't want to damage the connection before it even begins. Okay, now this is interesting because this watcher is not showing up as immature energy. And the next pull is going to reveal what kind of person they really are underneath all this caution. Okay, and we have the Five of Wands. Now, at first glance, you might say, wait, that looks like conflict. That looks like confusion. And yes, it can be. But coming right after the Knight of Pentacles, I'm not feeling this as someone immature who wants to stir drama. I'm actually feeling the opposite. This is someone who has learned to be careful because they know how quickly things can become messy. The Five of Wands, as psychological symbolism, can show different energies around a situation, different opinions, different pressures, people watching, people talking, maybe work dynamics, community dynamics, mutual friends, family expectations, or even this person's own responsibilities, pulling them in different directions. So, underneath their caution, I feel someone who is very aware of consequences. This person may be mature because they don't just move based on a feeling. They don't just say, I want you, and then ignore what that could create around both of you. There is attraction here, absolutely. There is curiosity here, but there is also this controlled side of them that says, if I step forward, I need to know what I'm stepping into. Okay, that makes sense. For some of you, this person may be respected in some way, not necessarily famous or anything like that, but people may know them. They may have a reputation they protect. They may be connected to your workplace, your neighborhood, your online circle, or some shared environment where one wrong move could create unnecessary noise. And I feel like this is why they seem hard to read. Their restraint can look cold. Their silence can look like disinterest. But I don't think that is what this is. I feel this is someone trying not to create chaos around something they actually take seriously. They don't want to approach you in a way that makes you feel like another option in a crowd. And with this Five of Wands, I'm also picking up that they may feel there is competition around you. Maybe they assume other people want your attention. Maybe they see that you're glowing differently, and they wonder who else is noticing it too. That creates a little pressure in them, even if they would never admit that out loud. So their personality is cautious, observant, and very controlled under pressure. They may not show everything on their face. They may not be the type to spill their feelings too quickly, but they are paying attention. And now we need to look at the obstacle, because this stability is real. But there is still one thing making them hesitate. Okay, and now we have the Seven of Swords. Interesting. And this connects very naturally to the Five of Wands, because we were just talking about pressure, outside noise, and someone trying not to create chaos around something they take seriously. Now, before anybody gets nervous, I don't want to immediately turn this into betrayal or deception. Sometimes the Seven of Swords can point to someone being sneaky. Yes, but in this reading, I'm feeling it more as hidden movement, private thoughts, someone not showing their full hand, someone trying to figure out how to move without causing a reaction around them. This is the obstacle. They are not being fully visible. And I feel like part of the reason is because they don't know how you would interpret them coming forward. There may be something about timing or social distance or a work situation or mutual people being involved. For some of you, there could be gossip around this connection, or the fear of gossip, not necessarily a third-party situation. Okay, I want to be clear about that. For some, maybe there are outside opinions, but for many of you, this is more about the environment around the connection being delicate. This person feels pulled to you, but they don't want to make a move that exposes too much too soon. The Seven of Swords, as psychological symbolism, can show someone moving carefully because they are trying to protect themselves. It can be pride, it can be fear of rejection, it can be them thinking, if I show interest and this person doesn't respond, then I'll look foolish. So they watch, they collect little clues, they notice your tone, they notice who you respond to, they notice whether you seem open or closed. And I'm also picking up that your guarded energy is part of this obstacle. Not in a blaming way. Not at all. Your guardedness makes sense. You had to become more careful. You had to stop letting people wander through your heart like it was a public hallway. But this person may not know if that guard is for everyone, or if it is specifically toward them. So there's this quiet dance happening. They can't stop watching you. They feel pulled. They feel that something about you is different. But they are choosing the right moment because they don't want to misstep. Now, gentle warning here, because of what you went through before. You may see this caution and think, they're playing games, they're not interested, they're just like the last person. But I don't think that's the full story. And the next card is going to show why this person is different from the one who disappointed you. Okay, and now we have the Six of Swords. That is very clear, especially after the Seven of Swords, because now we're seeing why your mind might be cautious around anything that feels hidden, quiet, or delayed. This is the card of moving away from something that was mentally exhausting, moving away from confusion, moving away from a place where your nervous system had to keep guessing what someone meant, what someone wanted, why they pulled back, why they came forward, why they acted interested and then went quiet. So this is showing me that you have already been through a connection that trained you to be cautious. And because of that, when someone watches quietly, when someone takes their time, when someone doesn't immediately reveal everything, a part of you may say, I know this pattern, I've seen this before. Take it how it resonates, but I feel like some of you are almost waiting for the disappointment before it even arrives. Not because you want to be negative, because you learn to protect yourself. The Six of Swords, as psychological symbolism, is the mind trying to get to calmer waters. It's that place inside you that says, I cannot go back to being confused. I cannot go back to begging for clarity. I cannot go back to reading between every line just to feel chosen, and that is healthy. But here's the gentle warning. Sometimes fear will dress itself up as intuition. Sometimes old pain will say, run, when the present moment is only asking you to observe. So with this person, don't abandon your discernment. Please don't. Let them show you who they are through action. But also, don't punish a new energy for what an old person failed to give you, because this watcher feels different. The person from the past may have wanted access. Access to your attention, access to your softness, access to your forgiveness. But this person is watching for an opening that feels real. They're not just asking, can I get in? They're asking, can I come in correctly? That is why the pace feels slower. And I feel like they know you've crossed some kind of emotional river. You are not standing on the same shore anymore. They can sense that if they approach you. They are approaching someone who has survived disappointment and become more peaceful, but also more selective. Okay, now it makes sense. This is why both of you may feel the pull, but neither of you is fully rushing it. And the next card is going to show the kind of offer this person may eventually make, because I do feel something tangible forming here. Okay. And now we have the Three of Swords reversed. That is powerful. And it follows the Six of Swords beautifully, because we just saw the movement away from confusion. And now we're seeing what happens after the heart begins to repair. Because this is not showing me someone who wants to come in and reopen a wound. This is showing me someone who is aware, on some level, that your heart has already had to heal from disappointment. And maybe their heart has too. Take it how it resonates. But there is something here about two people who have both learned from pain. Even if you learned it in different ways, the Three of Swords reversed, as psychological symbolism, is not the heartbreak itself, it is what happens after. It is the quiet repair. It is the moment someone realizes, I don't want to keep repeating the same patterns. I don't want to be careless with someone's heart. I don't want to be careless with my own. So the offer this person may eventually make does not feel like a flashy offer. It feels like a safer one. It feels like a message that opens a door gently, a conversation that starts simple but carries more weight underneath it. A reason to see you, a reason to ask how you've been, a reason to come closer without forcing the whole emotional truth into the first sentence. And I feel like this person is not just imagining attraction, they are imagining what peace would feel like with you. What consistency would feel like. What it would be like to sit beside you when there is no performance happening. Not just the exciting part, not just the spark, something more real. That connects right back to the Ace of Pentacles from the beginning. The Ace was the seed. This card is showing me the soil has been through weather. So whatever grows here cannot be planted in denial. It has to be planted in honesty, in patience, in emotional maturity. And that's why they are moving slowly. They do not want to be another person who arrives with intensity and leaves behind confusion. They don't want to become part of your old story. I'm picking up that this watcher knows, whether consciously or intuitively, that you would rather have nothing than another half-love that makes you question yourself. And honestly, that may be what makes them respect you even more. This person wants access. Yes, but not just access to your attention. They want a real opening, a healed opening, a place where something can be built without both of you carrying every old sword into the room. Okay, now this is where the reading starts to soften, because we need to pull the love energy next. And that is going to show whether these feelings are only on their side, or whether you have been quietly feeling this too. Okay, and now we have the Five of Pentacles. Interesting. And after the Three of Swords reversed, this makes sense in a very tender way, because when a heart has been healing, it can still feel the distance before it fully trusts the warmth, because this is not the card I expected for the love energy, but it actually explains something very important. This is the feeling of distance, the feeling of being outside the warmth, looking in, the feeling of wanting closeness, but not knowing if the door is open. And I feel this on both sides. This person may be watching you and feeling like you are just out of reach, not because you are doing anything wrong, but because your energy has become less available to people who have not earned their place, and at the same time. Some of you may feel this person around you, but still feel separated from them somehow, like there's a wall of silence, like there's curiosity, but no full confirmation yet. The Five of Pentacles, as psychological symbolism, can show two people who are closer than they realize, but both are carrying a private feeling of lack. One person thinks, maybe they don't want me. The other person thinks, maybe I shouldn't assume they feel anything. Okay, that's very specific. So yes, I do feel mutual thoughts here, but the thoughts are not loud. They are quieter, more private. It could be that you suddenly think of this person at odd times. You hear their name. You see something that reminds you of them. You wonder if they noticed you, and then you tell yourself not to care. And they do the same thing. They may pass by your profile, your name, your presence in a shared space, and there's this little pull, a small moment where they pause longer than they plan to. They may wonder who you're with, what you're feeling, whether you are healing, whether you would even let them close. This is where the chemistry is not only physical, it is emotional recognition. Both of you may have experienced feeling left out in love. Both of you may know what it feels like to want something real and still feel like it's too risky to ask for it. That shared understanding is part of why this feels meant to unfold, even if it has been quiet. And I'm picking up that this person sees you as rare because you did not become cold after pain. You became wiser, more careful. Yes, but not empty. That matters to them. Now timing is becoming important here, because this distance is not meant to stay the same forever, and the next card is going to show when, or how, this connection starts becoming obvious. Okay. And now we have the Eight of Pentacles. That is such a grounded final card, and it answers that timing question in a very practical way. After the distance of the Five of Pentacles, this is the energy of someone slowly closing the gap through effort. Because this is not showing me something that becomes obvious through one dramatic moment and then fades. This becomes obvious through effort, through repetition, through someone doing a little more than they have to, through them finding reasons to stay connected, reasons to keep the conversation going, reasons to be near your energy without making it feel forced. The Eight of Pentacles, as psychological symbolism, is attention, focus, someone studying the details, someone not just glancing once and forgetting. This is a person who has been paying attention long enough that they are starting to understand your patterns, your moods, your boundaries, your silence, and soon, I feel they may show you that. Not in a huge way. Again, I'm not feeling chaos. I'm feeling something practical, a message, a check-in, a helpful gesture, a conversation around work, community, plans, timing, something ordinary on the surface, but underneath it, You will feel the difference. You'll know. There may be something within the next few weeks for many of you, especially around a repeated place, a shared space, a project, an online exchange, or a moment where you cross paths and the eye contact feels a little too specific to ignore. For some, this is a message that starts small but carries a deeper undertone. For others, this is someone showing up more consistently where they used to stay in the background. And what I like about this is that the Eight of Pentacles does not ask you to believe in fantasy. It asks you to watch the effort. So yes, this person has been watching. Yes, they feel drawn to you. Yes, there is a reason this connection keeps tugging at both sides. But your confirmation will come through what they do. Not only what you sense, trust actions, trust consistency, trust the person who is willing to build, not just the person who knows how to create intensity. Because I feel both of you are going to realize this through small moments adding up. A look that lasts longer, a message that arrives at the right time, a conversation that feels strangely easy, a moment where you think, okay, this is not in my head. That's when the meant to be feeling becomes less mysterious and more real. So I'm going to leave this reading here. If this found you, take what spoke to your heart and leave the rest gently. Thank you for spending this time with me inside Astral Card Vault. If it resonates, you're welcome to like, subscribe, or leave a comment for the energy of the reading. And until next time, I'm sending you warmth, clarity, and steady love from Astral Card Vault.